Hey everyone, this is Social Dissonance, also known as Shepherd. Today I will be doing the Ceadeus tutorial with a lance. So for my equipment, I'm using the Undertaker and full low-rank Rathalos armor. The only exception being is I threw on the Gunner cap rather than the Blademaster helm, because it gives 1 extra point in attack. In any case, the actual skills are attack up large and critical eye +2. I don't think the heat resist low is going to matter all that much. So your basic strategy for Ceadeus, at least with the lance, and by the way, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but I think Deus is probably how you pronounce it, seeing as that's probably supposed to refer to as underwater god. Your strategy with the lance, at least in the beginning, is when you're behind him in the initial area, use your charge to get up to his beard, attack, and then when you have the chance, turn around and start using your normal attacks. Now, there are 2 armor sets I would recommend using for him. I'd either use the Rathalos set, which is what I prefer, because with the Undertaker you have a rather large green sharpness bar, or if you don't have that, if you're using something like the Arcus lance because you just can't find the rusted lance, use the Legiacrust set because it'll give you extra sharpness and the elemental attack up is pretty decent as well. So his beard is absolutely the weakest part of his body while it's still full. And so when you have the chance in this first area here, attack it as much as you can. That's 2 reasons. Not only does he take the most damage from it, but once it's broken, he will begin retreating all the way to area 3. And what that will allow you to do is essentially attack him unhindered with the lance charge and whatever few hits you can get in on his tail. So even by the time he gets to area 3, you'll have already broken off 2 of the major parts of his body, giving you all the time in the world in area 3 to knock off the horn, and if you really want, to break his back. So if you've been counting, there are 4 parts in his body that can be broken: his beard, his horn, his back, and his tail. The tail is probably the hardest one to recognize when it's broken, but I think I get a pretty good shot of it in this. You just end up seeing a little notch of it taken out at the end, and kind of like a scratch on the side. So this is actually kind of funny. The most destructive part of his body when he's in Area 1 is actually just his flippers, because you're constantly trying to attack his beard and he's always moving forward. Those little flippers of his are going to be constantly moving towards you. So they don't really do much damage at all, as you can see, but they're kind of a pain in the butt. I think a 3rd armor set you can consider, and this is a tutorial I tried to make, but I didn't want to use a whole ton of advanced armor spheres upgrading the defense, is the Barath armor. If any of you are kind of a risk taker, you can gem it up to Adrenaline +2 with the proper charm, and once you get down to below, I think 50% life, your attack will go up by 1.3 times, which is pretty much the largest attack boost you could ever hope for in the game. Okay. Really upset at that flipper right now, but that's okay. So you can see, if you have the lance, the Legiacrust armor isn't really necessary, because with the lance charge and a mega dash juice, you move pretty much as fast as you would with swimmer. And you're attacking at the same time. Make sure to block when he coils his body up like that. That means he's going to do some sort of attack, even though it missed me. Yeah, at least until he's in Area 3, he really just doesn't do anything that could possibly kill you unless, like, you get directly in front of him, or you have, like, really low life because you're trying to use adrenaline. A little note about Cha-Cha. Normally the game recommends that you bring the Ancient Mask because he'll always have a supply of bubbles he can give you. I find that with the 2 oxygen supplies they give you, plus 1 oxygen supply you can buy from town, that really isn't necessary, and so that really frees up whatever sort of mask you want him to use. I prefer him to use the Feline Bomber Mask, only because I know that's probably going to do the most amount of damage to him, to Ceadeus. Now with the lance, you're going to get really tempted to do as many charges as you can. Like, I'm getting really excited right here. That's great if you have the Legia Crest set and the Undertaker Lance, but if you just have the normal Undertaker Lance, it really dries out your sharpness way too quickly. So, if at all possible, like I've said in other tutorials, use the charge to get in close, like get the first hit in and get the last hit in, but don't just sit there like attacking him over and over again unless... why am I doing that? I think I'm doing this because I know he's going to leave. Well, if you can get off normal combos instead, you should really be going for normal combos. Yeah, see, look, I'm at least doing that. I'm at least doing that much. If the chance for normal combos, your sharpness bar will not go down as quickly. And actually, the damage is almost equivalent. The way that the damage over time works is with the Lance charge, you're going to do slightly more raw damage over time, but significantly less elemental damage over time. I'd be asking, well, why is that? I mean, you're hitting him over and over again. Shouldn't every attack from the elemental work? Well, it doesn't exactly work that way. The Lance charge, as far as I understand, at least from the damage formula fact on GameFAQs, is elemental damage is reduced by 1/4. Now, considering that elemental damage is already 10% of what you actually see for every attack in your status screen, you're essentially doing 2.5% of that total damage, which really isn't much when you factor in most monsters' low elemental resistance anyways. Just a little note, now that his beard is broken, it's still the weakest point on his body, but not by nearly as much. So if you need to break other parts, don't feel like you're really wasting time like attacking them. By the way, the reason I'm doing the Lance charge here is because he's moving way too fast for me to get off normal combos. Definitely aim for the beard, but it's not going to be make or break for you at any point once it's broken. It took me a while to put together this tutorial. The first time is I was using the Legia Crest set with the Undertaker Lance, and that was fine. I killed him in about 37 minutes, and people suggested I try using a longsword, and I really did try it, but I just could not get the positioning down like I could with the Lance. I mean, with the Lance, you're so offensively mobile and still defensively mobile whenever he screams, if you can block the scream, or if he starts to charge you. So I just can't even imagine fighting him without a Lance. By the way, I think I just broke the tail. I'm going to see in just a second. Alright, you can see there's a little notch taken out at the end, and there's a scratch in the side. That's all that appears once the tail is technically broken. So once I finally get to the reward screen, you'll see that I actually do have the tail broken. Yeah, so what makes it so tough is, like, I have essentially 30 minutes that I want to fill up with somewhat useful narration. But the strategy to him comes down is really bring the most offensively powered gear that you can, the strongest dragon or thunder elemental weapon that you can, preferably a lance, just because it has so many advantages over other weapons. It may not kill him as quickly, but for someone that's fighting him for the first time, you're going to find the extra mobility just indispensable.